Thanks for being here. Just wish I could make eye contact with every one of you. Thank you for being here. Isn't it great to come together and we kind of all have the same thing? We all kind of have the same issues in life. And we come together to kind of together just grow and learn and get closer to God. And I want to welcome everybody who's watching us online as well. Thank you so much for joining at least the message portion of our service. It's great to have you. We are in a series, as you can see right here. It's called Peace of Mind. It started last week. But I think that this is what we're all after. If you really think about life, I feel like every one of us, that we're all pretty much the same here. We're really looking for peace of mind. We're looking for peace in our life. We're looking for contentment in our life. And there are so many things that come against that. Life is hard. Life throws all kinds of stuff. It is like a struggle all of the time. And we have all of these issues against us. And we're spending a few weeks just talking about some of those major issues that come against us in life. Last week, Shaheen started the whole series off talking about anxiety. And I'll tell you, that is huge. Anxiety in our culture, in our lives. And whether you've ever been diagnosed or really had a problem with anxiety, I know that every one of us have felt anxious in our life. So if you haven't seen that message, go online and watch that message. It's going to be very helpful to you. So I encourage you to do that. But there are other issues that come against our life. And I think that as a culture, this is just growing and growing and growing for whatever reason. We have more and more mental and emotional problems. I mean, it's just out there. It's everywhere. We all have some kind of mental or emotional issues that we're trying to work through. But here's the deal. God wants every one of us to have peace of mind. God wants every one of us to have fulfillment and contentment in our life. So what we're looking at is, what does God actually say? God doesn't leave us out there high and dry. He actually tells us how we can overcome and get healing and deliverance from a lot of these things in life. And today, the topic today is something I know we've all experienced, and this is discontentment. Every one of us have experienced discontentment in our life. Every one of us have faced unmet expectations. We've all felt in different areas of our life, maybe not all at once, but different areas of our life, we have felt so disappointed. It didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. This didn't happen. I thought this would be better than it was, and we get this just discontentment, disappointment in so many areas of life. And I know that we can fall into just being so dissatisfied with areas of our life. And it's the gamut is huge, and we're all different, but we've probably all experienced it. Just this disappointment or discontentment with, I thought marriage would give me more than it did. I thought this was the right person. I thought that this job would do it for me. I thought, man, when I left college, I thought that I was going to be super successful and I was going to really reach somewhere, and I didn't. It seemed like everything was against me, and here I find myself just so empty or hurt or defeated in my life. And it can be so many things in life where we've tried and maybe our kids didn't turn out the way we wanted them to. And I guess we get this discontent, dissatisfied feeling in our heart. And here's the thing, it can even take it farther. It can take us to a place where we actually are just plain old sad. And we can get so sad about areas of our life that we perceive as failure or it didn't give us what we wanted to. It can tend to go into other areas of our life. And if it hasn't happened to you, you've probably seen people that it's happened to. So here's the deal, and we all have these. Okay, none of us are unique here. We all have these. If you are dealing with something right now today that is a disappointment, it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. You feel so, I don't know, you feel so empty. You feel just like it's I don't know, it's just so unfulfilled, disappointing. I want to tell you this, no matter what it is in life, don't give up. Don't give up. And this isn't just like think positive. No, seriously, this is very serious. Don't give up. Because here's the thing. If you and I give up and we settle in our heart, in our mind, we just settle, my job will always be unfulfilling. I'll never have good relationships. I'll never have friends. I'll never have control of this. And if we get there, it can lead to such a sadness is the only word I can think of it. It can lead us to so sad and so unfulfilled if we quit, if we give up, if we settle for that, and we won't live. And here's the thing, I think, don't give up, because every single one of us, and we can make a choice today. We can, even if you feel that way today, every one of us can actually change our attitude to this, that I can change it. It doesn't matter what it is, we can change it. Now, by change it, if you have terminal cancer and it's going to kill you, you might not be able to change that, but you can change how you live out the rest of your life. Listen, this doesn't mean that you can change it, that you're ever going to. Life's not fair. We don't all reach the same. Not everybody has the same opportunities. And even trying to accomplish that is ridiculous. We are all different. Life isn't fair. But here's the point. If there's an area in our life that we're just not satisfied in, that we're just so sad about it, it didn't complete us, it's just such an unmet expectation we had and it didn't happen, we can change it. We may never be rich, but we can be different than where we are. We may never be the top. We may never accomplish. We will never be the best, but we can be better than what we are. And that's why we don't want to give up. You don't want to settle for just, this is it. It turns into almost like this mentality that I'm a victim or something, like, oh, everything's against me. We're not victims. It's life. We're not all the same, but we can all make a difference in our life. We honestly can. We can make a difference. The Bible gives us so much instruction. I mean, the Bible is full of, I call it sometimes the Bible is just this life hacks book. I mean, it tells us how we can do better at life, how we can live life, how we can be better. I'm going to read a couple of them, but I think the whole book of Proverbs is just full of this kind of stuff that is true. And here, this one, all hard work brings a profit. And this isn't just, it's this principle. It's not just about working and profit. It's just this idea that when you and I try, it makes a difference. Working hard, being responsible, doing something about it makes a difference. It does. But mere talk leads only to poverty. When you and I just give up and we just, I wish it was different. Oh, poor me. It goes nowhere. And you and I, we can make a difference in whatever situation we are in life. We don't have to settle for just giving up, just, quitting like that. Lazy hands makes for poverty. But I love this. But diligence, okay, diligent hands brings wealth. Now, same wealth? No, we can't. We don't compare. We will never be as wealthy as other people, but we can be more wealthy than we are now. That kind of thing. He who gathers crops in summer is a prudent son. But he who sleeps during harvest is an idiot. I'm sorry, did it say it? Oh, is a disgraceful son. I mean, really? Hey, we can do what we can do. This defeative, defeative, I don't know if that's a word, but this victim mentality, just poor me, I can't, everything's against me. That's just simply not true. You and I can make a difference in all the areas of our life. I love this one, more of an attitude one. It says this, walk with the wise and become wise. Hello, don't do that. For a companion of fools suffers harm. We've all been there, or at least we've seen people there, if we ourselves haven't been in it. But you know what it's like to just hang around poor old me and other poor old me's. You've been there. You're a divorced person. The worst thing to do is hang around negative divorced people. If you're a disgruntled employee, the worst thing you can do is hang around other disgruntled employees, because nothing gets better. It only gets worse. You and I can make a difference in our life, and we can choose to do that. So we've all struggled with this, but just really quickly, think about whatever area you're struggling in right now today. Think about, how can I make a difference in that? How can I change it where I am? If your employment, so many people are just dissatisfied, disappointed with their job and they thought it was going to be different. It wasn't. This whole unmet expectation is just, this is not it. It's just a drag. Well, so then change it. Honestly, change it. You can. This is America. We still can choose where we're going to work. Find a different job. Find a better one. Stop complaining about your boss. Get a different boss. Okay, stop complaining about where you work. Get a different one. Over the years, I have talked to countless people who are just so disgruntled with their employment. They're almost so depressed about it. And I have asked, you're gonna almost laugh at this. You're gonna think this is ridiculous. But I have asked people, so have you looked for a different job? No. Oh, well, you're just going to sit here and be totally disgruntled, just totally depressed about just all this stuff. And yet you haven't. How many people I have asked, I said, have you applied for another job? No. Really? Really? We all can do that. We're not stuck. We're not condemned to our job. Make it different. Find a different thing to do in the company. Well, I don't have the skills. Go get the skills. We are intelligent people. We can learn. We can make a difference. We can change it. How about finances? I'll tell you what, this is huge. People, so many of us, we live in this financial drag. We're just, there's so many bills and we just can't afford things and we're scraping all the time. Well, you know what? We can change it. Even those of us who are at the lowest income levels, we can still change it. We will never be rich like other people. We may never have, the security that some have, but we don't have to stay where we are. That's the point. We can move. If we're here, we may never get to there, but we can get to here, right? We can all go to here. Over here. Even if we never get there. Some of us might get there, but we don't. But hey, let's make a difference. And this thing about finances, I'll tell you what, just we as a culture, I just read something the other day. It's mind-boggling how much you and I have gotten into debt in the last 2 years. It's unbelievable. And I don't have the numbers here, but you can look it up. It's incredible. Unsecured debt, credit card debt. The average American has went just so, we got all this money from COVID and everybody spent it all and now we don't have that money, but we want to keep living our same lifestyle. We're going into debt like crazy. My oldest son called me the other day, 3-4 days ago. He called and he said, Dad, he was kind of freaking out. Dad, how can people spend every dollar they make? He was just he was irritated at it, that how can they spend every dollar they make? And I thought when he told me that, Eric, it's worse than that. People spend every dollar they make and the dollars they don't make. It's crazy. Hey, listen, if we're in that if right now that's you, change it. Change it. It's going to take effort. It's going to take discipline. But remember, we don't want to be lazy. We don't want to have mere talk. We're going to be disciplined. We're going to make a difference. We're going to work hard. Hey, this simple 2-letter word will change most people's finances. It's just simply no. No, we're not going to buy that. No, we're not going to go there. No, we're going to make a plan to go there. We're going to make a plan. So anyway, this isn't a financial talk, but you understand the point. I'll tell you what, a huge one, which I think all of us have experienced at one time or another in our life, and that is the disappointment in relationships. Man, it's just almost sad to think about because every one of us, everybody here, even if you're watching online, you have probably felt the disappointment, discouragement, the unfulfilledness of relationships gone bad. I'll tell you, it's got to be one of the worst pains in life, is to give yourself in love to somebody and be one, and then that end in a divorce or in a breakup. It's horrible. It's a horrible pain. And we can make a choice. We can. And it's not like I don't feel sorry for us when we're in there. I do. But we have a choice. Are we going to stay there or are we going to change it and do something about it? I'll tell you what, through broken relationships, there's 2 things we should learn. Every one of us should learn this. And that is how to pick different next time and how to be different next time. We can change it now. Does that mean we're going to get that one awesome relationship where, no, probably not. You may never get that one back. But it doesn't mean because you can't get there, you can't move to here, that we can make a difference. We can make a difference by choosing better next time, by actually learning from our own mistakes from the last time. I'll tell you what, for you young people, I wish our whole young, all of our youth would learn this. If you're a woman and you want to marry a great guy someday, just a responsible, great guy, then be the kind of woman that a great guy wants to be with. And the reverse is true too. Hey, if you're a young man that wants to marry a great woman someday, then be the kind of man that a great woman wants to be with. We can make a difference. But hey, it's work hard, it's discipline, it's saying no, we can make a difference in our life. But there's this whole idea, there's something that I find really interesting in all of this stuff, and that is this. I think it's weird how we're disciplined and we fix the areas in our life that we can and we should. But sometimes in life, we have a good life and we're still not content. Sometimes we have everything we kind of planned out. Everything's good. But there's still this feeling of disappointment or dissatisfaction in our life. There's a guy in our church, his name is Mark Faust, and I met him maybe a year ago. He started coming to church here, but he was coming to our Friday morning men's breakfast. It's a Bible study breakfast, starts at 6:30. If you don't go to work, guys, early in the morning, you just should be here. It's great. I've learned so much from these guys. Anyway, that was a little advertisement there. But Mark, and he said this a couple times, not as like in a teaching or anything. He just kind of said it in passing as we were discussing things. He said, there was a time in my life that I really questioned all this. What he said was this, you go to school, you graduate, you get a good job, you find somebody awesome to marry, you have kids, you get a nice house, you build a great life, you have luxuries, you retire, and then you die. And he said, isn't there more than that? What he was describing was this. Sometimes, and he felt this, really, if I get all this and work hard for this, like that's it? There's this discontentment. There's still this unfulfilled thing in our lives. And I think that the truth is this, that all of us are going to feel that. If you haven't felt that yet in your life, if you can't identify with what Mark was saying, then I would guess you probably think that you can still get there to this fulfillment. That's my guess, that you haven't went on the journey he has, that you still think that, oh, no, I'm good. I got plans for life. I'm going to do this. And so you feel no discontentment there. You feel fulfilled because you still have these goals. But my question is this, and I just want to ask all of us, every single one of us, this question. What is it that you're working for or that you dream about that you think, well, as soon as I get that, I'll be completely fulfilled? I'm working for that right now. I'm happy, but I'm working for that. What is that for you? Well, as soon as I get there, I'll reach my goal in life. I will accomplish what I want in life, and I will be completely happy and fulfilled. For many of us, it might be a certain amount of money. Is that for you? What is the thing for you? Is it a certain amount of money? Is it a certain amount of success? You know what? I got enough money, but as soon as I get other people's approval, or they see I'm successful, then I'll be good. Well, as soon as I get that White House, I'll be good. What is it for you? Think about it. Because, I'm going to throw Dr. Phil in here. How did that work for you the last time? Seriously, we need to think about this. How did that work for you? How did that work for me the last time? Because I have many of those in my past. The last time, you remember when you said, hey, if I can just be with him, if I could marry her, I'd be in heaven. Remember when you thought that? What happened? I mean, you love her, everything's good, but I thought that was going to be everything. What? But do you remember? Oh, no, it was as soon as I get the right house. When we get the right house, I'm really going to be. Do you remember when you got that right house? What happened? Because now you want to remodel it or get another one. The right job. You remember? We've all had these where, hey, as soon as I get that career job, as soon as I get that, and you got it. What happened? Because it didn't do it. Now it's something else. That right amount of money in the bank. Hey, you reached your first goal. What happened? It's a point in all of our lives. It's like, what are we going to need? I think we need to understand this, that there's something universal about all human beings, you and me and everybody we know. There's something universal about us. And that is this, that there is something missing. There is an emptiness way deep down inside, wherever deep down inside is, in your thoughts or in your heart, your belly, wherever you feel it. I know you've felt it. Wherever you feel that deep down emptiness, it pops its head up once in a while, but we cover it up with just being busy. But I don't want to go there again. That's a sad hole to think about. I'll get busier, I'll get this. But it keeps coming back because every one of us have this emptiness in the very core of our being. And that emptiness, that space, that hole can only be filled by a relationship with God. We've tried. We can't fill it with anything else. It can't be filled with more of anything. This world doesn't give us anything that will fulfill the very core and center emptiness and void that we have. Only God can fulfill that. As a matter of fact, it's what Christianity is all about. This is the very essence of Christianity, of God's incredible love for us, that God created all of us as his own creation. We are made in his likeness. We are created to be alive and to be fulfilled with a relationship with God, where only God himself through relationship can fill that particular vacuum, that hole, that emptiness. Only he can fill that. And that is what we're looking for, and that is what we need. And so sometimes if there's something we can change, we need to change it. But for that one discontentment, that one center thing in our lives, we need to decide that we can let God change me. You see, we can change other things, but we can't fix that. Only God can. But we have to let God fix that. We have to let God in and fix and fulfill that one emptiness that we have inside. And that is the whole purpose of Christianity. That is the whole purpose of Jesus Christ coming into this world, was to fulfill that discontentment and bring contentment into our lives by putting our trust in what Jesus did, to allow God and the Holy Spirit to fill us that only he can fulfill, to bring satisfaction and fullness and contentment into our lives. This is what the New Testament is all about. I love the Apostle Paul. He talks about this so often. He says it's kind of like the main theme of his life. But I love how he describes it here, and kind of this trying to fulfill this contentment, trying to find this satisfaction in life. He says this. He's writing to the Philippian church who supported him with physical needs and stuff. And he's trying to tell them, thank you, but that's not the source of what I need. He says, I'm not saying this because I am in need. No, he says, for I have learned to be content, whatever the circumstances. How much money would you pay for that? We want to be content, and we think it comes through everything going our way. But we live in a world where that rarely happens. We live in a world that just seems so against us, and it's not fair, and it's not, if you and I are trying to find contentment in circumstances, life is going to vacuum. It's going to be horrible. That means sucks. It's going to be horrible. How would you like to be satisfied like everything was going your way, even if it wasn't? That's what he's talking about. He says, I know what it is to be in need. I know what it is to not have enough. Hey, if you're there today and you just don't have everything, Paul would say, I know what that's like. I've been there. I know exactly where you're at. And I know the temptation to feel what you're feeling. But he says, and I know what it is to have plenty. Hey, listen, for some of you, you can buy or do whatever you want. He says, I've been there too. I know all about that. But he says, but I've learned the secret of being content. I love this. In any and every situation. That's priceless. Whether I have nothing, whether I can do whatever I want. Hey, I'm the same either way. Because this emptiness has been filled with the presence of God. He says, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want, I can do all this through him who gives me strength. Hey, listen, I can live in contentment, fulfillment, satisfaction, no matter what happens in life, because it comes through Jesus Christ. It comes in a relationship and a connection with God that Jesus Christ provides for us. Jesus himself said this. He came on the earth he came here to give you and I a connection with God, because that's what's missing. And he came to make that possible. And one of the statements he said this, Jesus declared, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. He's not talking about food and water. He's talking about just like you and I crave fulfillment, just like you and I crave to be satisfied. You know what it's like to be hungry? You're hungry and you just want food, and it's just, you can be so hungry you can't think of nothing else. But we all know, most of us know, what it's like, how you feel after the buffet. You know how you feel. Matter of fact, you sit different because you're so content. Oh, I'm good. Try to show me a hamburger. I don't care. I don't need anything. You know what? I don't need nothing. I'm full. I'm satisfied. That's what Jesus is talking about. He says, hey, I am the one. You're not going to crave anymore. You're not going to be looking for this and going for that, and I need this. He says, hey, I'm the supplier. I will satisfy you. Jesus said another thing, very popular saying, it's in John 10:10. He says this, the thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy your life. There's an enemy, the devil. We're not going to talk much about it, but Jesus said he is out to just ravage your life, make it horrible. But he said this, but I have come that you might have life and have it to the full, that you might have it abundantly. Jesus wasn't talking about, I've come to fix all your circumstances so you have the biggest house, so you drive the fastest car, you have the biggest bank. That is not what he's talking about whatsoever. Jesus is talking about this bread of life thing. He says, hey, I've come. The reason I came to this earth was so that you would have completeness and fullness and life that is truly life with this relationship with God in our lives. That's what he came to do. And you and I, we are in control of our own lives. You and I can decide right now to kind of surrender trying to do this ourselves and to let God change us. Hey, I can do that. We can let God change me. God, change me. I want you to fulfill me, to give me satisfaction and completeness in my life. The Apostle Paul, he said this, and I just love everything he said. He went through life. His life is amazing. But he said this, and I think this will connect with most of us. He said, I had it all. I had popularity, success. I had provision. I had money. I had life. But he says this, but I count all of that as garbage in comparison to the life that comes through Jesus. The life that comes through Jesus. He fulfills us by giving us a relationship with God in our lives. Some of us, we've probably never really even kind of got into this, or in our lives, we've never thought about putting our faith in Jesus to connect us with God and asking God to fill us with His Spirit and His presence. And others of us have. We've probably done that years ago. But it doesn't matter where we are. It's never a one and done. You and I have a choice to make every single day. And that is that we need to put our trust in Jesus every day. But we have a decision every day to allow God to fill us in a relationship with God, to satisfy, to fulfill us, to bring contentment. I'm not going to look for it everywhere else. I'm going to enjoy life. But I know it won't bring contentment. Only God will. And even if life is good, you and I have a choice to allow God to change us, to fill us more and more every single day. Say, Father, fill me. Give me your presence. Only your presence. Only you can give me life that is truly life. Only you can satisfy that longing emptiness, that hole that is in there. And for most of us, I've tried long enough. I've tried. I know it's not going to do it. So God is the only one that is going to satisfy us. So how do we actually let God do this in our life? How do we let God do it? What do we do? The Bible tells us, it's so clear. And it's written by James, and he just says this. He says, if you want to be filled by God, draw near to God, and He will draw near to you. He doesn't say you have to sing and dance and perform. He says just draw near to God. Just seek God, approach God, and He will come and fill us. How do we approach God? There's so many ways. By just saying, God, I need you. God, I want you. Doing this is a great way to approach God. You know that hey, we're on a good step right here, coming together once a week on a Sunday morning to worship God and to sing and to be inspired by what God says for our life. This is an act of drawing near to God. Reading our Bible is drawing near to God. Being in a small group is drawing near to God. You know, worshiping Him, spending time with Him, being with other believers. There's so many ways that you and I can draw near to God so that He will come and fill us.